Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before I get going with this video, I just want to take a moment to thank our friend Daquita very much for your donation to our channel's PayPal account. Your donations to the channel keep the channel going and keep it growing. Thank you. I really appreciate the support. About a year ago, I did a video stating that I believe that there seemed to be some sort of acceleration in narcissistic abuse, ramping up of insanity almost. In fact, what I thought I was seeing was narcs just kind of lunging at it, not even going through that, sweet period, investing less time in the love bombing, less time in the idealization, investing far less time getting to know someone, mirroring them and creating that mask. They just seem to be flying at it much faster. Now, a year ago, I was kind of standing on my own with that claim, but recently Sam Vaknin did a video too, claiming that he has been watching this changing trend and that he too has really recognized a acceleration of narc abuse, less effort towards hiding what they are. And of course, I've been talking with one of our friends here at the channel that's been with us a long time, and she too has really seen this in her personal life. I've seen it in my personal life, and I do want to talk about this today because I believe it really does present a threat for all of us on one hand, and there is a really bright side to that, and that is their predictability, and I want to talk about those things today. I think it's safe to say that all narcs are operating out of the same playbook, same agenda, same smoldering pile of poop, right? Exact same stuff. So I'm not at all surprised to see this shift amongst all of them. I mean, it's not like one or two are doing it. Loads of people have written to me and said the abuse is really accelerating, or I met someone new and this creep didn't even try to hide what he was or what she was. And, date two, they were exposing themselves. So I'm really not surprised to see that this shift is occurring with all of them. They are so predictable. Now, when we look at how we've learned to spot them quickly, the love bombing right out of the gate, the idealization. So if they're changing, we have to change. Our knowledge bank, our bank of information regarding how to safeguard ourselves against these creatures needs to change as well. So I do believe it's a pretty important topic for all of us. So if they're less likely to go through this sort of extended courtship, this information gathering phase of the relationship where they really are, targeting you, getting as much information as they can get out of you so they can mirror you, create this fake illusion, this fake person, this fraudulent being, and create this mask to, further hook you. If they're not going to be going through those stages, well, we need to know what to watch for, because all of that was incredibly predictable. And I think we'd all agree the love bombing, even though we fell for it, I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. It felt synthetic to me. It was a red flag, and I did ignore it. Okay, so minus the courtship, minus the love bombing, minus that idealization phase, what are we looking at now? Well, what I believe I'm seeing is this ramped up acceleration of narc abuse where they just don't have the time for it. Let's consider this. They've been exposed. They're being exposed by the thousands. There are so many wonderful channels that are exposing them, so many blogs and books and so much information out there. It's really reaching the mainstream now. In fact, if you're watching any of those true crime shows, the word narcissist comes up over and over again. So there is a tremendous amount of global exposure. So maybe these creatures figured, oh, well, they're on to us anyways, let's just fly at it. They definitely are linked by a hive mind. I think that is undeniable. So what are we actually seeing now? How are we going to spot them? And what are we looking for? Self-victimization, that is extremely prevalent. It has always been and continues to be. They certainly want to present as a victim. I think in their twisted, delusional minds, they believe that if we perceive them as a victim, we won't be alerted to what they really are. So keep your eyes open for self-victimization. I think typically when a sane, normal person meets someone new, they want to put their best foot forward. They're not going to start screaming, I'm a victim, right out of the gate. And narcissists use this self-victimization to gain our trust, to make themselves appear meeker, milder, and less of a threat. So keep your eyes open. Self-victimization is always going to be a sign, because truly, sane, normal, healthy, well-adjusted people, when meeting someone new, simply do not want to show as a victim. Safe to say we will still continue to see some over-admiration, not necessarily the intensity of the love bombing and the idealization. I believe the isolation is always going to be part of their MO. And the reason for this is narcissists do not want exes or other people in their lives getting together to share stories or have those aha moments together. They're always going to try to keep people in micro compartments so they don't get together, so no stories are shared, so the truth is hidden a bit longer. So if you meet someone new, and you're struggling to sort of get information out of them about their private life, about exes, where they lived previously or worked previously, they tend to be a bit guarded and a bit secretive. Now, of course, when we met our narcs, when I met Trevor, Trevor was so interested in me. And to be honest with you, I'd been a single mom for so long, at home with the kids. The kids would come in and tell me about their day, and really nobody ever asked, how was your day, Mom? Because they were so excited to share their stories. And all of a sudden, there was somebody in my life asking me, about how my day had been, my likes and dislikes. And to be honest with you, I was really quite swept up in that. So very distracted. I guess throughout all of that and feeling, important, that somebody cared about me, I hadn't asked a lot of questions. It was, of course, in retrospect, a distraction, but you need to invest some time in asking this new person in your life some questions. Where are they from? Who are their parents? Where'd they go to school? What's going on with ex-relationships? And, the people that they co-parent with. We need to know this information. And initially, when I met Trevor, I really didn't ask any of that because, to be honest, possibly a bit of vanity or, just feeling really special to somebody, and I hadn't felt that way for a long time. I was really swept up in that, and I see it now as a tremendous distraction. So if you do find someone new asking you a lot of questions to the point where it's become imbalanced, stop it, cut it off. Enough about me, let's talk about you. Okay, so let's consider that the narcs are flying at it. Narc abuse is accelerating. They don't have time for the courtship anymore. They want to get right to hurting you. All this love bombing and idealization is just far too much work for them now. And besides, they're being exposed. We're on to them. We had been watching for those things, so they shift, and now we need to watch for something else. Fair enough. But if they're not going to be asking you a lot of questions because they want to mirror you, why would they still do this? Well, I believe it's to gain information to use against you later. If you consider aspects of your life, things that have happened throughout your life. Now, in my case, when I was 12, my dad died. There were certainly issues with my mother, and my mom was a real hot topic for me, a real sort of button that I really don't like to get pushed. And of course, through his exploration of me, I had told him that. So whenever there would be an issue, he'd say, well, why should I give a shit about you? Your own mother doesn't give a shit about you. And that was very, very hurtful to me. So I do believe that they're still going to be wanting to gather information about you, not because they want to mirror you, but because they want to use it as a weapon of war during future gaslighting conversations and, in the future abuse that they most certainly know is coming. Communication. I'd be watching for weird communication. I'm going to tell you initially, and God, this was a red flag. In retrospect, vision's always 20/20. But one of the things I noticed about Trevor immediately when we were still co-workers, but particularly when we started dating, he looped. His conversation looped. He said the same thing over and over again. Like there wasn't a lot of diversity when it came to his ability to communicate fluidly. In fact, I remember on the first date, he had made this really lame-ass joke, but trying to be nice, I laughed. And I believe that night he told the joke 3 more times. And of course, by time 3, I was forcing myself to laugh. But the creepiest part about this is he continued to tell that joke throughout the entire 5 years we were together. And I don't mean once in a while, I mean steady. Why? Because they're looking for a hit. And in his twisted, screwed up mind, that was funny. I had reacted with laughter. He got a hit. There was some narc supply there. And he continued and continued and continued to do it. They are excessively repetitious when it comes to communication. They say the same things over and over again. If you recognize a lack of creativity, when it comes to communication, or this inability to change gears when it comes to certain conversations, this is a red flag and one you should be paying attention to, because most people do not just regurgitate the same stuff over and over again. Narcs are stuck in an echo chamber. Narc is only going to be able to change patterns so much, and this communication thing I think is a really big red flag. Of course, I knew nothing about narcissism, but now if I find someone stuck in this repetitive narrative where they just can't break away, if they have received some sort of reaction to it, they'll regurgitate it to try and get that hit again. And if they haven't gotten a reaction from it, they will milk that cow till it's dead. The narc is targeting a new victim. That's because they don't have a victim within their grasp, right? So they're looking for someone new. And I did believe at the time when Trevor was first targeting me that I was special to him, I was important to him, and all of this. But I also noticed a lot of texting. I do believe that when a narc is out of supply and a narc is now desperately looking for a new target, they throw the net really wide. One person, one target is never going to be enough. I believe they throw the net wide, and whatever they hook, and they'll take that. I don't think they're particular. I just believe they see us all as objects, and any supply is good supply as long as it's supply. Meet someone new and there are obvious lapses in their availability, or you notice them texting a lot, or there's a change of plans, I would definitely say that that is the wide net being thrown out, and they will take hostage anything that's available to them, whatever is the least amount of work. Now, if you are asking them a lot of questions, or you are starting to see red flags, you're a bit standoffish, they're just going to continue working their way through the narc harem. And I know it sounds horrible, but we are of zero importance to them. The supply, whether it's full-time, primary supply, or secondary supply, it's all supply, and they really don't care. A narc would love to have great primary supply, but if that's not available to them, they will take what they can get every time, just like a drug addict, just like a dope fiend living in the streets, trying to get drugs. If a drug addict cannot get their drug of choice, damn it, they will do whatever's available. Now, if a big predator, a lion, for example, is on the hunt, it's hungry, it's not going to care if it's got to eat 10 rabbits or it finds itself a zebra. It doesn't matter. So if the narc is targeting you, it is targeting. It is in full predator mode. It's thrown a really wide net. So keep your eyes open for gaps, lapses in their availability, a lot of text messaging, having to leave early or show up late, just behaviors that imply you're not the only person they're targeting, because guess what? You are not the only person they're targeting. Now, I've been trying to gather as much information about this shift, this change in narc behavior as I can in an attempt to try and keep us all safe. And if you've noticed anything, please leave it in the comments below. I do believe that we're going to stand a great fighting chance against these monsters. We're going to be able to keep these things out of our lives as long as we stay one step ahead of them. Now, I'm going to end this video, but I did mention the other day that I was going to add some images from when I set up the pop-up shop out in Bucerias, and I just did that, and I do have some images, and I'm going to show you guys. Now, I love you guys lots. Thank you so much for standing by me, and thank you for supporting our channel's PayPal account. I really appreciate it. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day. Initially that I would have one small area in the shop, but the one I just showed you is actually a jewelry station. There is another station for my throw pillows and yet another station for my handbags, so I was really excited. So my work is kind of spread out there in the store. Now, for those of you who are creative, and I have been encouraging you to really pick up your creativity again, because God, it has been a game changer for me. I feel alive again, like I really do feel alive. Okay, what we have is that little dresser. The drawers are pulled out, the jewelry is on top there. I was able to find some very low cost glass jars, which I filled with pinto beans. Pinto beans here are almost free, senor. Very low cost. I just wanted to stabilize the jars so they weren't tippy. So I put the pinto beans in there. You may have noticed in the drawers are little tents. And I did go looking for business cards, and for a heavy stock, they were going to be like 3,000 pesos, which seemed a bit unreasonable to me. And of course, I want the work to be sellable, and a high-ticket item like that has to be worked into the price of the earrings, so I wasn't liking it. So one day I was out for a walk. I was going from printer to printer. The prices were bad. Some of them, the cardstock was too heavy. Some it was too light. And the prices just, I was completely turned off. So kind of flustered and frustrated and hot, I decided to just walk home. And I was walking by this paper shop, like for school supplies. And I noticed these big manila sort of colored rolls. So I stopped and I thought, what the heck are these things? Well, what they were actually was corrugated paper, and they came in a variety of weight. And that paper was 15 pesos for a meter, so 3 feet, and that is $1.05 Canadian, something like that. So I bought it, I cut it. This one is my template, so it's already scored, but I just cut these out. I used the template to score them, I glued them, I stapled them, and the earrings all sit on there, and I created little tents, and I have enough of that paper actually to make about 1 million of them. So if you have been thinking about getting back into your creative flow, if you are thinking about creating a small home-based jewelry business, attending farmers markets or craft fairs, or selling online, I found this was a really low cost, easy to do fix for what was seeming like a problem. I mean, what was I going to do with the earrings? They need to be mounted on cards. I couldn't just lay them on the table. So if you are considering that, yeah, please consider these. They went together really fast and easy. I thought they looked cute, and they're this tan color, same color as the pinto beans, so I went with that. You may have also noticed I used some clipboards to hang the necklaces on. Clipboards are a great way to display necklaces, and here a clipboard is about 20 pesos, so say like $1.50 or something Canadian. And I know in Canada, US, and UK, clipboards are kind of obsolete, though they do still sell them, and they're almost free, senor. So make sure you check that out if you are looking at doing a small home-based jewelry business. Now, as a jewelry designer, of course, I have worked with other jewelry designers, and one of the things that we never discuss is who our suppliers are. This tends to be really, really guarded information, and I'm going to tell you guys who my supplier is, because if you are considering this, I do believe I have one of the best suppliers around. I know others have suggested Fire Mountain, and Fire Mountain 12 years ago used to be on eBay, and I used to buy from Fire Mountain way back in the day, but they have since become a large retail outlet. When you are a maker or a creator, you cannot be buying retail. You cannot be walking into Michael's, and buying components. You need to buy wholesale. So in the description box, I am going to leave a link to my supplier, and I'm going to encourage you guys to check them out. They're extremely low cost. Some supplies tend to be great. I've had nothing but good luck with these people, and I have been working with them for well over 10 years. So I'm going to encourage you to check it out. And I'm going to say, I know many of you are really starting to pick up with creative projects that you once had. The jewelry business has been phenomenal for me over the years, and I do find it's a really low risk, low threat way of getting out, surrounding yourself with other creative people, and just getting your stride back. And of course, it is a great way to earn an extra income from home, especially if you're finding yourselves housebound right now. Now I have the jewelry station, the handbags, and the pillow station, but in addition to that, there's a very large basket of my pareos, just kind of tucked a little bit under the table. They're very visible there, so I'm really excited. I believe I'm off to a great start, and as I mentioned before, it is my target to start additional pop-up shops in other areas. My target is 1 new store a month for the next 5 months, bringing the total to 6 stores. So I'm pretty excited. I'm off to a good start. And I do believe that this is going to allow me to earn some extra income, get my creative stride back, and just start feeling a lot better about myself. So I really encourage you to do it. And of course, I am absolutely breaking all protocols amongst jewelry designers, and there is a link to my suppliers in the description box below. Guys, thanks a lot.